My, oh my,
Oh my, oh my, oh my.
am I?
How sad am I? Wish she wouldn't stay. Guess I should have stayed in bed, my pillow wrapped around my head. Still I'm waking up to find nightmare of a different kind. She went away. This just doesn't seem to be my way.
Now,
that's Pete Townsend version.
One hand clapping.
Welcome to Plastic EP's album show, and today, let me tell you, here we go. There we go, the album show. Today we're doing the Monkees' first album, The Monkees, released in 1966. And let me tell you, this week it was released. It went to #1 in the charts this particular week. What an album to do this week. Do you agree, guys?
Oh,
Hey.
Definitely, yes.
Everyone hold that up.
Woo.
Hey.
How are you, Michael? How are you, Charles? How are you, Fred? How are you, Mark? And how are you, Charlie?
I'm doing fine. We
That's
get to
what I wanna
meet
hear.
the Monkees.
Should we answer in order?
Let's get straight into it, you guys. Mark, we're going straight into the first song theme from the Monkees. Just want to tell you, one of the best TV themes out there with Gilligan's Island, with Batman, with everything. What band has got a song all about themselves? Walking down the street. Come on, Charlie, a couple of verses of that. Come on. Here we go.
La, 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 la.
Here
we come. Walking down the street. Get the funniest looks from everyone we meet.
Hey, we're the Monkees.
All right.
The theme from the Monkees is probably, you're right, one of the best themes. And actually, I would have liked it better on the album if it was the TV show version that ended in like a minute. I thought that was much more powerful than the one that's on the album. It actually goes on a little longer than I would have preferred. But yeah, it's a great theme song. I can't deny that. It's probably one of the best songs on the album. But when I was growing up as a kid, I thought every band had a theme song. I thought if you had a band, you had to have a theme song. I thought that was just normal.
Dave Clark 5 did. Catch Us If You Can.
And what does your book say? Tell us, show us the front of your book what we're referring to, what the name is, and where they can buy it.
As Mark was saying, this book is written by Mark and I. Long title, Looking for the Good Times. Basically, we go through every single song that the Monkees did in order as they wrote them. So, like, Ladies Aid Society comes during the first album. It could have been on the first album. Thank God it wasn't. But, you know, we go in order so you could see.
Okay. That's great. Now, you got no more to answer about that theme song. I'm glad you said you like the other version, the TV version, because I do too. Charles Rosenay, take it away.
Well, 3 in a row. I love the short edited, and the show song, the 53-minute version. Boyce and Hart. I mean, they wrote most of the stuff on the album. It's a great introductory song. I mean, if you're a kid and you're hearing, hey, we're the Monkees, that's it. You're walking around, you're singing it. It's embedded in your brain. Great theme song. Period.
Perfect. Now, I just want to say, Boyce and Hart were actually walking, and what happens is they were thinking of Dave Clark 5's Catch Me If You Can, right? Like the beat. They had the beat. And while they're walking together, they came up with the song, Hey, it's the Monkees. How fantastic's that?
Oh, yeah.
Fred, come in.
Yes. Hi.
Tell us about your 2 books that you got for sale, and then tell us about Theme from the Monkees.
Okay, well, of course, there's my first book, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You, The Monkees from a Fan's Perspective. Put it out in 2014, and here's the follow-up. Just came out, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You 2, The Monkees from International Fan Perspectives, continues the stories, my stories plus stories from fans from all around the world, from Japan, from Brazil, from England, Australia, up there.
I'm in page 206.
Right.
All my fans, make sure you buy it and rip out 206 and throw the book away.
There's that many pages?
Fred, who wrote the intro? I heard someone really cool
some schlub named Charles Rosenay.
Charles F. chose name.
Thank you, Charles. I appreciate it. And Charles,
hey, can I ask you, because he made page 1, how many pages did he write for the forward? Was it only 1 or 2?
Charles wrote like 200 pages for the forward.
Did he come up? Can I ask you something, Fred? Did he write to 205 and then you got me to take over at 206?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
No, Charles wrote a nice a very nice introduction to the book, telling about his experiences with the Monkees, which was great. A lot of great photos. And he also helped me to edit the book, and I appreciate that very much, Charles.
Yeah, no, he's a wordsmith. I don't want to spend too much time on Charles because Charles is going to write his own book. If you write a book, we'll be mentioning us as well. Now, what do you think about the song theme from the Monkees, Fred?
I think it's great. I think it's a great song. It's a great theme song. I was surprised it was not released as a single in the States until like years later when it was issued as, I think, the B-side of
This Is Now.
That's right. Yeah. It was issued as a single around the world, and I think it charted in some places. And it's also was issued in Italian because there was some
the Monkees.
Right, Tema dei Monkees. And it was because of some kind of rule in Italy that the theme song of any TV show had to be in the Italian language. So Mickey recorded phonetically, and they just used the same backing. But that's a fun little oddity right there, and you could find it on some of the Monkey compilations, like Missing Links and places like that. But and like you mentioned, it was based on Dave Clark Five's "Catch Us If You Can." So I think Boyce and Hart heard that song and said, let's do something similar like that for this new TV show, and that's where the theme of the Monkees came from. Mickey sings great on it. He does a great performance, and the backing by, I guess it's the Wrecking Crew, do a fantastic job on it. So yeah, it's a wonderful song, and it's a great way to kick off the album. It's a great album opener.
Great. Now, Mark, what do you think of Theme from the Monkees?
I love it too. And for those who like the shorter version, there's two places you can get it. You can get it on the TV Theme Songs album, Volume 2, and you can get it on Missing Links, Volume 3, among other places. So I don't mind the longer version. I always thought maybe they could someday do like a video of the longer version, incorporate all the footage from the first season and the second season and make some sort of, longer video. But hey, yeah. Anyway, I have nothing else to add other than when it was released as a single in most countries, the B-side was usually Mary Mary. So there we go.
Okay, show us the two books quickly. You got your one book there, and you got your famous chipmunk monkey.
I got a chipmunk book. Forget these monkeys, guys. The chipmunks are where it's at. Christmas time is here, and it's time to buy this book on Amazon and wherever you find books online. So.
Okay, great. Let's go straight to Charles and keep it moving.
Hey, are we still talking about Pull It? We're not talking about Pull It anymore?
From the first album.
Okay, so I mean, we already mentioned Dave Clark 5, and this isn't the only song on the album that is a style cover of something that was popular around the same time. I think the Dave Clark 5 tune came out in '65. This album was released in October of '66. So they were recording it in July of '66, I believe.
I think some of Boyce and Hart's goal was to sound like modern. They wanted to sound like the music of the day. So quite a few of their songs are actually, you can see where the influence came from. And we'll talk about that farther.
Definitely. And even like the Beatles, I mean, at this point, the Beatles were doing Rubber Soul and moving away from that teeny bop sound. So, I mean, that's what they were trying to pull back into. So, it's great stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love it. But it did have direct influence.
Yeah, of course. Now, Charlie, I want to say I appreciate everything you look up. You do your research. And from now on, I'd like to call you Mr. Researcher because you surprise us with all your research. But as I said, being big Monkey fans ourselves here, we'll tell you a little bit as well. We'll correct you too. So no, you've done a great job. Now, straight on to Saturday's Child, written by David Gates. Let me tell you this, if you know or you don't know out there, because there's a lot of people, these new generations of Monkey fans don't know, but Saturday's Child was slated to be the #1 release single, A-side single. But then they did Last Train to Clarksville, and that's the one they went with. So Saturday's Child was going to actually be the first released Monkey song as an A-side single. Michael.
Saturday's Child is not a bad song. It's not a great song, but it's not a bad song. David Gates, of course, went on to do Bread, and he wrote a couple other songs. Davy Jones even covered one of his songs on his first solo album for Bell. Saturday's Child has that little hook at the beginning, which is not bad. But after like the third time of hearing it, you go, all right, I got it, get on with the song. And so I kind of feel like it drags too much because of that riff being repeated much too much. It's just not catchy enough for me. So it's an okay song.
Charles.
I think it's beyond an okay song. Mickey's vocal starts out sexy, and then he just gets into it, and it rocks. I mean, I think it's a great song. I think it would have been a great single, and it's also got something I love is the callbacks. I'm in love with Saturday Child, and it goes back and forth. I love that back and forth callback stuff. So I'm automatically going to like that. And David Gates, doesn't get enough credit because it's a well-written song. And, Mickey always says, I love covering Neil Diamond and Jon Stewart and Carole King. He always forgets David Gates. And I think that's a winner right there.
Winner, chicken dinner. What's happening, Fred?
Okay, I like Saturday's Child too. I think it's one of their best early songs. It's really, like Charles says, it's has a great pop rock sound to it. I love the callback. And did you know there's I think an earlier version by Herman's Hermits? I
don't know who put that one out first. I think Herman's Hermits was after the Monkees.
Hermits.
Is that right or wrong?
Hermits came out first, but the Monkees had the semi-hit with it. It was an album hit.
Yeah,
it was.
That's right. They put on the album the Herman's Hermits. And let me tell you, since you're talking about early songs, I don't know why they didn't whack in apples, peaches, bananas, and pears and chuck that one in the first album, because I reckon that would have been a favorite of Charles. You agree, Charles?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Apples, peaches, bananas, and pears.
That could have been a great B-side.
All right, Mark, go for it.
Well, they have a lot of stuff that they were recording at that time. I mean, All the King's Horses didn't make it on the album, and that was around too.
Yeah. Hey, exactly. But let me just tell you, why didn't they put Teardrop City there too?
They could have
been there as well.
Because they weren't recorded yet.
That's true.
Apples, Peaches, and Teardrop City came after this album.
That's true. I gotta read this book here. This book tells me all this stuff. Anyway,
hey, I'm not reading that book unless it comes to Australia. That's why I'll just wing it. Go on.
They could have had All the King's Horses, The Kind of Girl I Love, Stepping Stone, Mary Mary, and She were all recorded before this album and saved for the second one. So any of those.
They ought to whacked in Mary Mary. I would have put that Mary Mary straight in there. Bang.
But they also recorded Ladies Aid Society and Teeny Tiny Gnomes, so we can be thankful if those are not included.
But wait a minute, we're gonna come up to the big party favorite, Charles Rosenay, Let's Dance On. That's coming up shortly. All right.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Back. I think Fred was still talking about Saturday's Child when we interrupted him.
Me.
No, it was
No, it was Mark. It was Mark.
Okay. I didn't even get to say anything. Well, actually, I have an interesting comment in the book here. I said I don't like it, but at the same time, I say that it's like a tremendous earworm. So, it does get stuck in your head. And, I think they were trying different styles on this album. That's the real thing, just to see what would click, which you'll find out when we go through other songs. So it's not a bad song. It's not a great song, in my opinion, but it's not like The Day We Fall in Love.
That's all right. Well, myself, Charles, and Fred, we love it. What do you think, Charlie?
I love it as well. The thing to watch out for on this song is the production, and a lot of the production on this album is just top notch. This wasn't just going in, laying down the tracks. They really worked on it. The thing to listen for is the chorus, the amount of noise that's going on in the background of the chorus, but Mickey's vocal is way out present and just clear as a bell. So you hear Mickey's voice singing the song, and it sounds like it's actually all clear, but am I losing microphone here? But the background noise is just, there's so much going on, it's hard to tell what's actually being played by the instruments. Yeah, this is one of my. I could probably say this is one of my favorite tracks for most of this album.
That's fantastic. Well, a big hello to Mickey. He always joins our show. Well done, Mickey. We always love to hear from you on the show. We know how much of a big Monkees fan you are. Now let's move on to I Want to Be Free. I just want to say, I Want to Be Free was great in 1966. When you saw Davey walking on the beach, it's going, I want to be free like the bluebird. It was great until I heard the version by Mickey and Davey singing the song. Well, I actually like the version of the two of them singing instead of Davey on their own. I don't know how you feel, but that's me. I'm for the other version of I Want to Be Free.
Excuse me.
I like the album version better. I like the version that's on the album better. Davey does a wonderful job singing it. The only problem I have with the song are the lyrics, because if you really listen to it, it's about a guy who wants to cheat on his girlfriend and be free, you know, and not be tied down. It's kind of, well, what a jerk you are, man, you know. But other than the lyrics, I think it's a very good song. It belongs there, and Davey does a wonderful job.
I love your modern day interpretation. Fantastic, Charles.
Well, it's another Boyce and Hart classic. I think it's a beautiful song. I love the slower version of it. When I was in Monkey Mania, I had to sing that, and we had a big debate over whether we were going to do a faster version of it or a slower version, and we did actually like a fusion of the two. But my best memory of the song, if I could share with you guys, is at this Monkees convention when Davey, you know, the tribute to Davey, the Davy Jones Memorial Convention, which I helped produce. David Cassidy was late for coming on stage, and I'm stalling and I'm riffing and I'm trying to think of what to do. And my son, who was only probably 6 or 7 or 8 at the time, walks in the ballroom, and I get over here. I put him on my lap, and he sings "I Want to Be Free" with the whole crowd singing along. It's on YouTube, and it's amazing. Fred was there, you know, some of you guys were there. It was just an amazing, magical moment. So that song has a place in my heart forever. Having performed it with Monkey Mania, having performed it, you know, on stage with my kid, and loving it when Davey was walking in the, you know, and it was the slow, beautiful version.
All right, Charlie, grab your guitar. This is your big chance there, Charlie. I want to hear your version, how you did it on your show. And can I have a look at your T-shirt? We can't see it. You want to stand up for a minute?
You, Charles Resonate, right?
Charles, can I see your T-shirt? I can't see your T-shirt. Now I can see. That's a great T-shirt. Right, now what speed do you want? I want to be free. I want to hear a verse and a chorus. So tell Charlie what speed you want it at.
16 word revolution.
Who's singing this? Charles Resonate?
Obviously. Who else? Father
We're all
Christmas.
singing it. We're all
Charles can't sing.
Come on. I wanna be
Go,
free.
Charles, what speed? Let Charles sing it.
I loved it. I remember the first time hearing it. I thought it was really good. I considered it Davey's Yesterday. It was that type of song. And then later, when I saw the Monkees pilot and I heard the faster version with him and Mickey, I like that one too. So I like both versions, but the first one holds a special place as a fan. And hi, Mitch Weissman.
Mitch.
How you
Hey,
doing?
listen, Mitch Weissman's on. Now, we know he's a Beatle fan, but he must be a Monkey fan because he's listening to me.
Yeah, it reminds me of Yesterday. It also reminds me of As Tears Go By the Rolling Stones. Usually I don't like the kind of syrupy ballads, but this one's really good. And so they got it right the first time with Davey. You know, sometimes later on with Davey, it's like, you know, but this one is really good. But I think it has to do with Boyce and Hart, you know. So that's about all I have to say.
Fine, Charlie, go for it.
It reminds you of Yesterday with good reason. It starts off with the guitars. The second verse comes in with the strings. I mean, it's pretty much Yesterday was the template. Great, you know, wonderful Davey tune. And I got to see him do it live a few times. Great fun. It's wonderful.
Charlie.
Can I throw something in before someone else beats me to it? You're going to see a lot of Beatle comparisons in the album.
Yes.
You know, George Harrison might get 2 tracks. Nez got 2 tracks. Ringo would get that novelty, you know, 1 song. Peter got the 1 song. The Beatles did songs in German. Well, the Monkees themes in Italy. There's so much of that, the Great Ballad and everything else. So there's a lot of Beatle comparisons, obviously. But you know, you think of that as a bigger picture, and you can see why this works. And I was proud to be the Mitch Weissman of Monkey Mania, by the way. Whereas Mitch was the greatest McCartney in Beatlemania, I was up there with the maracas and the tambourines. I couldn't play a freaking instrument, but I had fun.
You mean you played the maracas right-handed?
I was able to do two in one hand while I was playing the other.
Charlie,
what do you want me to say? Now, next thing I want to say, number 4 song, Tomorrow's Going to Be Another Day. Now listen to this. Tomorrow's Going to Be Another Day is my favorite song off the whole album. And I'll tell you why. When the album came out and I bought it and started playing it, and it was bigger than my head at 8 years old or going towards 9, that was a song that I wore the groove out so much because I couldn't help singing, tomorrow's going to be another day, yay, yeah, that song, it just drives me nuts. I still love it today. Tomorrow's going to be another day is my favourite song off the whole album. What do you think, Michael?
It's not my favorite, but it's definitely a very good song. I mean, I don't have any problem with it. I enjoy listening to it. It's in some ways it's predictable, but that's okay because they were trying to be predictable in many ways. They were trying to copy the sounds of the day. What I like best about it is when it stops and all you hear is the percussion. Tomorrow's going to be. That's the best part for me.
You and I agree 99% of the time, but I got to tell you, it might be my least favorite song on the album. I think it's a filler song, guys. I'm sorry. It's a great vocal. But Charlie's leaving.
We haven't got Mickey on yet.
Mickey can do no wrong, obviously. I would have loved to hear Nesmith sing it. I think it would have been a great vocal for him. But I hate hey, 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 hey with the echo on it. It's so cheesy. And
I love it. I love it.
That was my point. They're trying in the whole album to sound like what other pop songs sound like, even if it's cheesy. Because at this point, they're still making product. They're not making art yet, if you know what I mean.
Correct. Well, as product and as cheese, then it's good. But it's probably my least favorite song on the album.
Well, thank you. Fred, what do you think of that?
I think it's a fun pop song. I like Charles says it's a bit like filler, but it's fun filler. It's and it has I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but it has sort of like a Birds type sound to it with the guitars, you know, sort of, and it's fun. It's not, you know, like it wouldn't have been up as a single, but it still makes a nice album track. It makes a nice sandwich. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Mark.
Well, I like it because it just kind of shows the versatility already on the first album, especially with Mickey's vocals. You know, he can go from the general pop hit to, you know, something a little bit harder to something a bit softer without effort, you know. And I don't even know if they knew that when they started having Mickey sing, you know, maybe they did, but, you know, I think they're just testing different things out, and he succeeded really well.
Thank you, Charlie, the expert.
Interesting thing about this was Tommy Boyce and Steve Venant who wrote this, and that pairing also wrote Action, Freddie Boom Boom Cannon. Let me take you where the action is.
Oh, really?
Yep, and I thought that was pretty cool. I really like the production on this. I know you said you don't, but I like the guitar sounds on it. I think they're using a tremolo on the guitars, which for a long time I couldn't figure out. I thought it was a different instrument, but I don't think it is. I think it's guitar with tremolo on it. And, it might be a tougher one to pull off live. I'm not sure I ever heard a live version of it, but it's like I said before, I could easily say almost every song on this album is my favorite because it's just a group of great tunes.
Fantastic, Charlie. You're doing a great job. Stay on the show. Now, I just want to say, right, with the sound that they got that country rock sound in the album going through. Then they got the ballad from Davey. They got a mixture. And as I said, Mike really comes out shining with the next track, number 5, Papa Jean's Blues. Would you know the first album was misspelt the name of the song? It had a J in it, like the jeans, the blue jeans you used to wear. So a lot of people collect that album. There it is. Have you got the Jeans album with the J, Fred?
Yes, we do. Right there.
Right, bring it up to the screen for people that can see.
it? There it is.
There you go, with the J. And then they continued and fixed the mistake and went to the G, Papa Jeans Blues. I like the song. I like it when they had it on the show and they're in the chicken farm there, throwing the bucket around, having a great time on the farm. Do you remember that, Charles?
Of course.
Okay, what do you think, Michael?
This is a tremendously important song because this is the first time you hear sort of a country rock on a pop record. Mike never gets enough credit for really creating that kind of sound and popularizing it. That's the key point. He made it a popular type of song, and I think it's really important. I think it's also important to note this is the first song he wrote where the title has nothing to do with the song, you know, which later it gets to be Tapioca Tundra and Righting Wrongs and Mounties Municipal Court, and he likes the title songs without what the lyrics are about. One of the problems with this song is that at one point he says, "Oh, pick it, Luther." So here he is admitting during the song that the Monkees aren't playing their instruments, which has to come back and bite him in the ass later.
Not a boy, Luther. No.
Yeah, that's right. They edited it out. They turned that down that bit.
Yes, later, some of those editors were edited out. But I want to also say this: Mike's lyrics are better, as far as I'm concerned, than any lyrics of any other songs on this album. He is not just writing the standard pop song, and I got to give him credit for that. That's another thing he doesn't get enough credit for.
Right.
Hey guys,
That's fantastic. Who's next?
Is it just me, or does Michael look like Steven Spielberg? So I have the rarest version. I've got, mine says Papa Jeans Jews. The rarest version of this there ever lived.
You got that as a Hanukkah gift.
I did. You guys.
Now, okay, that's fantastic. Now, as a special surprise, we've got a special guest. And here he is.
Oh my God.
Hey, Charles, how are you?
Hey, buddy.
Hey,
Papa Jeans Jews? That's
Only Rose.
oh, my God. Oh, yeah, only Rose Day. You're right. You're 100% right, Michael.
So, let me tell you guys, we've been talking about comparisons, and in the early days, I would skip the George Harrison songs on the Beatle records, and then later on, I'm like, how could I have? They're genius. And that was the same with a lot of the Nez stuff. I wasn't a big fan of this. I said, wait a second, where in the song does it say Papa? It bothered me as a kid that the title wasn't in the song. Yeah. And now, you know, I mean, it's great. It's genius. It's one of the best songs on the album. It's in its own category. And to say that Nesmith was way ahead of his time for popularizing country rock before the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band or all those, you know, he should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just for making his country songs, you know, pop friendly. But I love the song. It's a great song and it's great live.
Fantastic. You're familiar with the song, aren't you, Mitch?
Yes, I am. I'm familiar with a lot of the Monkee stuff. Pretty much after the fact. I missed the first album, but it was all over radio. I mean, that was the great thing about those records back then. You almost didn't have to buy the records because even AM radio, everything just played everything. And then at the advent of New York FM radio, they played every track. And as a kid, if you couldn't afford to buy the record, you just turned on the radio, and it was there. And it was a heavy rotation. You heard it once an hour, once every 2 hours. It was there. But I mean, so I rediscovered the earlier Monkee albums. I swear to God, I think my first album that I bought was Headquarters, amazingly, because I knew all the songs. I played Clarksville in my bands in junior high school and whatever it was. Played all that stuff. So it was pretty crazy. And I did like. I'm getting a friend request here. Move that from the screen. I hope I don't lose you guys. Wait, and it's Mickey. That's who it is.
Great song. Again, it's the first time we really heard Nez on this album, and it's a fantastic song. The musicianship is terrific. I think the Beatles actually did like country rock early on with like Act Naturally and some other stuff. But yeah, you're right that Papa Nez, Michael Nesmith did this kind of stuff early on like that, and he was like definitely the standout in the group in regards to the songs, and this being the first real Nez song you hear shows that there was a lot of promise there. This guy was going to go someplace, in the future. So this was the first inkling of what was going to come later.
Exactly. It's like a country rock, but also the word Tex-Mex. Does that make any sense to you too? It's got like those Latin beats and that. He's the first to do it. That's why we love you, Mike. That's why we love you, don't we?
Did anybody see the country music by Ken Burns?
No.
I wanted to. I haven't seen it
PBS
yet.
series. It's really well done, but unfortunately, no mention of Nesmith at all. They mentioned Graham Parsons. They mentioned the Flying Burrito Brothers. They mentioned the Byrds, but no Nesmith. Anyway, but this is proof on this album that, yeah, he was doing it before all of them. So, but it's still a good series. I recommend it, even, unless you can't stand country music. But
So the thing to keep in mind on this one is the auxiliary percussion. If you listen to the amount of auxiliary percussion on this track, there's so much going on. It's not, you know, it sounds very, very busy with all of the percussion going on. And the other thing I wanted to say is, you know, and you guys touched on it, the difference between Mike and all the other guys was Davey and Mickey were handed songs and they performed them excellently. And Peter was also a great musician, but Mike was the only one setting his own tone. He was the only one setting his own style that would actually be copied later on for years and years and years. And I agree with Fred and Mark, and he just doesn't get enough credit for what he actually brought to the table. His tracks all throughout the Monkees catalog are just amazing, one after the other.
Take a Giant Step, great song for the TV show. I liked it. When Davey's sort of tapping Mickey on the head as he's singing it, stirring him. I love that bit in the show. What do you think about it, Mark?
Me?
Mark or Michael?
Me.
No, we'll go Michael, sorry.
Sorry, yes. This is my favorite song on the album, but if you read the book, you see how much of a big Carole King fan I am. And I think this is probably the best written song and the best performed song. I kind of like the fact that Mickey does overdubs, harmonizing with himself at various points, although at the same time, one of the problems with the whole album is there's not enough Monkees together. You know, I mean, it would have been nice if they had gotten Davey to do the harmonies or something, but this is my favorite song on the album. I think it's, again, it's well written and well performed.
Definitely a great Carole King edition, King and Goffin. It's probably the most mature song on the album. If you listen to the album again with, you know, 800-year-old ears that we have now, you'll see that, wow, this is a little maybe ahead of its time. And they're using some weird psychedelic break in the stuff, which it's incongruent with the song, but somehow works.
Right.
You know, so that it's definitely a standout song, and it should have probably been a single. A great song.
Mitch, what do you think of Take a Giant Step?
I am just going to listen to you experts on this one. That's what I said before when I was watching. I mean, I'd have to listen to the songs again, some of them anyway, just to remember which one it is. And I'm sure that's the thing with me. I hear a song and go, oh, you mean that one? I mean, I have a tough enough time as a singer to remember lyrics, let alone titles to songs. And again, as I said, I missed out on the Monkees' first record, so, except I'm looking on Wikipedia the song titles, and I know like more than half of them. And this is one of the ones I can't remember how it goes.
All right, so. Mitch, just listen to Charlie for a second. Take a giant step. Get the guitar for a quick second. Come on, Charlie. We're going to revise your memory here.
Thank God you guys know this stuff. This is great.
Yeah. Played it, loving, lost in sorrows, turn your head to frost.
That's amazing.
Remember the feeling as a child when you woke up and morning smiled. This time you
it sounds like a Nesmith song. That's what's so great about it. I mean, he obviously took his cue from the great songwriting people that he grew up with.
Later on, there's a song that he wrote with Carole King. We'll get to that.
Of course, it makes perfect sense. Absolutely perfect sense. I mean, when I played with Mickey years ago on the 2012 Happy Together tour, that we used to, in rehearsals, jam on some of that stuff that we're even talking about now. And it was just, he loved the Mike songs. And I'm so happy they got back together and did those dates that they did. Because Mike was a songwriting genius to me. I mean, I loved his songs. They just didn't get enough exposure due to the two pretty boys who actually sang great and deserved it. You know, so how do you make all four guys stars at the same time? It's kind of hard.
Speaking of Mickey's the one that stuck behind the drums there, and he's one of the earliest drummers that's a singer. That's great too.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, but he learned obviously as they went along. That's why I love Headquarters, the first record that they did all four of them, and they told Kirshner and everybody else, go away. We're going to make this record our way. And those songs are just brilliant. Nesmith's songs on that record are amazing. They're all good. Even Peter had some great songs. I mean, it's amazing. It's too bad it imploded when it did. Did I ever tell you the story of how I got Mickey and Davey reunited in the 90s?
Yeah, let's go through that. This is interesting.
Kevin Allen was still involved with Mickey at the time, managing him, and we were in New York. Mickey and I are going out at nighttime, carousing, ending up in bar basements and things like that. Pretty crazy stuff. And Kevin said, and we were backing him. The Liverpool band from Beatles Fest was actually backing Mickey at his shows at the Trump Plaza in Atlantic City. We played, we backed him up on other stuff, but there was plans for us to be a band, and we would do Beatles stuff, and then we would do back him on his Monkees stuff. And then one night, Kevin says to me, "I really wish I can get Davey," and because Davey was in New York with his band and Mickey together. I said, "Well, let me see what I can do about that." So I went to the China Club, and Davey was there a little bit drunk. My friend Mark Clark, who played for the bass with them at the time, was sitting at the table. I went and sat there. I said, "I'd really like to get to do two of these guys together because they haven't spoken in a while." And sure enough, I managed to arrange for Davey to show up at another bar in New York where Mickey was there with what he called Kevin. And I myself couldn't go that night to meet them. But the next day I get a phone call from Kevin who says, "I have good news and bad news. The good news is they have decided to reunite and tour as a duo." I said, "That's fantastic." He said, "The bad news is they're going to use Davey's band." So I had no problem with that. It was perfectly fine, to get the two of them together again. And again, you guys know historically the history between them more than I did. I just didn't know they hadn't spoken. I had no idea what was going on.
Mitch, what year was that?
This has got to be the early 90s, before the 90s reunion shows and stuff like that. I mean, Mickey was touring, Davey was touring, and then nice picture. So it's got to be after 89 or so, somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Amazing facts there, Mitch. Fred, what is it you like about Take a Giant Step?
I think it's a wonderful song. It was, as you know, it was the B-side to Last Train to Clarksville, and it's a great song. Now, on that Summer of Love album compilation that came out a couple of years ago, they put Take a Giant Step there because they wanted to showcase the Monkees' psychedelic songs, and they put that song. Did that song ever come across to you as a psychedelic song?
The break is definitely psychedelic, yeah.
Yeah, a little, yeah. But I think there were better choices for that album that they left off.
Right, but the song itself is wonderful, and I love the bit they used in "Hello, Michelle." I love the bit they when they did it in the show, the one with the daughter and the father, the chaperone episode. I like when they did it in that show. So it's a fun song, and it's a nice album, nice closer for the first side of the album.
Fantastic. Mark, what do you think of it?
It's a great song. It predates a lot of stuff like Revolver and Pet Sounds and Aftermath and Rubber Soul even, for writing it, I think. What was I going to say? It has some weird instruments on it, like a glockenspiel and a harpsichord and a oboe. And does anybody know what that little rattle sound is from? It always sounded like somebody hitting a ruler, but I don't know what it is, that little rattle sound at the end of it. But anyway, I love it.
I know what that instrument is, but I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah,
okay.
the percussion.
Yeah, a little flat percussion thing.
But some percussion type in. Okay, got it. Okay.
I was going to mention the oboe as well. Any rock song that has an oboe in it is definitely
oboe power.
Yeah.
Like
pretty ballerina.
That's it, like a bassoon in Tears of a Clown.
Yes.
About Carole King and her husband. This was kind of what I was learning, that they were the ones who, unlike Boyce and Hart, who had a few tunes, those two came in with a slew of hits under their belt. And I wrote, So, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, Take Good Care of My Baby, The Locomotion, One Fine Day, Up on the Roof, I'm Into Something Good. And there were, I mean, that was just scratching the surface of what these two had done before they got to the Monkees. So, her husband, Goffin, had co-writing credits on Saving All My Love for You, which Whitney Houston recorded later, which must have made him a pretty penny outside of all of this. Yeah. But it's I can see where the psychedelic, you know, with the timpani going on and the different instruments and kind of the crescendo that happens. It makes sense. It kind of fits, but in a bubblegummy kind of way. Again, I love the tune. I love all the tunes on this. So
that's great. Now, if you got the vinyl and you flip it over, you go to side 2, which is Last Train to Clarksville. Myself personally, I listened to MP3s and the CD. So for me, Last Train to Clarksville was the only song that went to #1 off the album. So, I mean, I like it, but as I said, Tomorrow's Going to Be Another Day's my favorite. What do you think, Michael?
Clarksville was a hit, deservedly so, even without the show. I mean, the fact that the show helped promote it pushed it to #1, obviously. This is back in a time when you had songs like Day Tripper and you know, where the low guitar would play a little riff and that would repeat and that'd be the hook. You don't hear that much anymore, but at the time that was pretty popular. So Clarksville sort of built on that. Once more, Voice and Heart trying to sound Beatles-ish. I had a band that did a cover of this. We did an unusual version of it. We do the chorus half speed with harmonies. Take the last train, while the drums were playing normal. And then we get to the part that goes, the middle part, you know, and I only want to, what's the next part? Suddenly I'm blanking out. The middle part we do normal, and then we do twice as fast, and it really worked. It was kind of interesting, and it made it a little bit different. It's a fun song to play. I love playing it, and just doing it differently was the way I love doing it. So I just want to give that a little detail.
Fantastic, Charles.
This is there. I Want to Hold Your Hand. Great, great single. Would have been a hit with any group in the world. Great written song. Great Mickey vocal. Come on, amazing. Enough said already about it. It's great.
Fantastic, Mitch. Last Train to Clarksville, the big hit.
One of my favorite tunes. One of the ones I learned how to play on guitar. Just a fantastic song. It's amazing that there's such a song that actually was, you know, not the greatest subject. I mean, it was commenting on the Vietnam War and people being drafted and going to the train station and God knows if I'll ever see you again. I mean, but if you think about it, the way the song was arranged and produced and the music is so uplifting. It's a lot of people missed that point of it, you know. Plus the video, of course, was funny and Keystone-ish, and it was really, really good. So yeah.
Fantastic, Fred.
It's a great single. It was a perfect choice as the first single, and the single actually came out a month before the TV show debuted. The single came out in August. The show came out in September, and people debate whether it was the music that pushed the show or the show that pushed the music. And the fact that the song came out first and was on its way to #1 by the time the show was finally seen tells you a lot how good the music was.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I learned the song before I ever saw the TV show. I mean, for me, seeing the show was great to finally see their interpretations of their music in a video or an image video. That was always the fun thing to me. I mean, right. How they interpreted it and stuff like that. So, and had a lot of fun with them.
As I recall, when the song came out, people thought it was the Beatles at first because Mickey sounded so much like Paul to some people. And I think for a minute, maybe I did. I thought, no, this is not the Beatles. It's somebody else. And then I realized, oh, okay, it's a different group. So it's a great song, perfect single to launch the group and the TV series.
I just want to say, I actually hear some Rolling Stones in that. I've gone back; it's come in my memory, but I actually hear a little bit of the Rolling Stone in Tomorrow's Going to Be Another Day. It just hit me in my head, and I actually hear Last Train to Clarksville, a little bit of the Stones as well.
Yeah, I just want to point out this is the single. This is the one I think that came out before the TV series, and down here
I had that single.
Yeah, right.
Nice to know I was actually buying records at that time. That's fantastic.
And it says down here, "Right to the Monkees fan club" in Hollywood, and then it was reissued to push the album. So down here, it says ask for the Monkees album. So this is the pre-show, and his is before the show and then before the album. I mean, when the album's coming out.
The perfect marketing machine. Now, Mark.
I have a question for Fred. I love the song. I'll just say that. Maybe you know. Sometimes that single has a black or red and white sleeve, and sometimes it's full color. Was there a reason for that, or is it just a reissue, or they did different printing presses, or what?
I think it was just reissues, you know, because I guess the song was selling. It just, I guess I don't know. I know there was.
Didn't Screen Gems or Cold Gems have the red and white label?
Yes.
Because I mean, they may have. If what you're saying is true, then I would think the white and red label came out second because it was selling.
I'm just wondering if it came out.
They got cheaper. They got cheaper.
I'm wondering if
production
it
value.
came out color first or the other way first. But anyway,
it came out color first.
Somebody did say on the commentary. They said Beatles say yeah, yeah, yeah. And the Monkees say no, 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 no. And, it is kind of funny.
No, Monkees, yeah, yeah, yeah. Beatles.
Yeah, there we go. But it's kind of funny what Mitch said. You know, it's like I didn't. I like the lyrics. I think they're great, but I didn't know what the lyrics were about originally. And I just saw some dumb train song as a little kid, and just said, "What is this dumb song?" And then. Once I figured it out, I go, these are brilliant. This is really great. And it is one of the songs that they parodied themselves in the Monkees pretty early on in Monkey Chow Mein, where there's Mickey and Peter sing it out of tune. So, and in one of the episodes, there's a road sign that says Clarksville, but it has an E in it. It's CLARKES Ville. Anyway, so.
Remember when the three of them performed with Johnny on the Johnny Cash show, and they started with Clarksville, and Mickey started joking. He says, "Oh, my throat is getting rusty. My vocal cords are getting rusty. It's such an old song."
Fantastic. Now, Charlie, what do you think of Last Train to Clarksville?
I think it's terrible. I don't know why anybody would record such rubbish. The only thing I'll add is go to YouTube and check out Louis Shelton. He's the guitar player on it, and he does a video where he shows him in his studio breaking down the parts.
I saw that. It was really great. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's excellent.
But let me say, Louis Sheldon lives in Queensland. He lives in Australia. I love the guy. Just so you know.
Didn't he go on stage at the Mike and Mickey show and they introduced him?
That's right, he did.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. Guys, I'm going to have to sign off right now. This is a lot of fun, so keep me informed next time you do this stuff. Nice meeting those of you I have never met before, which is fantastic. I got things to do around the house. I'm going to put the program on really loud so I can hear everything. So thank you so much.
Mitch, thanks for coming on, and we hope to have you on during the albums and make an appearance. Okay.
Great.
Mitch, you got to tell me. You got to tell me stories about Jimmy Pappas up in Canada.
Oh my God! I can tell you one right now. It was very funny. We would get, and Jimmy will remember this one. We're getting paid at some gig somewhere up there. And we'd get paid like $100 bills or something. Not that there was a lot of them, but we get paid. And one night, Jimmy comes to me and says to me, "I can't find my pay. I can't find it anywhere. I'm looking in my whole room." So we go in the room. We're like searching his room. In those days, you discovered that if you went into a hotel room, you took the bottom of your curtain, cut the hem, and that's where you put your valuables. Because nobody ever looked in that sort of stuff. The rule also was if you went into the dressing rooms and you had girls come backstage, take your luggage tags off, for God's sakes. Jimmy couldn't find his money. And we couldn't find anything. So he was kind of a pack rat sort of guy and knew how to hide his stuff also. So what he'd done was I'm looking at him. I'm trying to figure out where in the world he could have put his money. And don't ask me why I thought of this. It's got nothing to do with sexuality or anything like that. But I look at his front pocket and I'm said, "Come here for a second." And I feel along the seam of his jeans pocket, the front jeans pocket on the right. And he had rolled his $100 bills up into a roll like a mini straw. He wasn't doing that stuff. No. But for whatever reason, he did his money the smallest he could make it into a little roll and stuck it in his pocket, and it worked its way into the seam area. And when I touched the seam, said, "There's your money."
Awesome.
He was great. One of the most fun times in the world was playing with Jimmy Pappas, and I miss him a lot, really a lot.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy, real good guy. All right, I don't want to hold you, Mitch.
Okay,
Thanks,
guys,
Mitch.
thank you.
Love you, Mitch.
If I don't get this stuff done, my wife is going to make me a dead man. Charles, good seeing you. I'll talk to you guys again soon, I hope. All right, take care. All right,
All right.
Plastic.
See you, Mitch.
Keep these things going, Plastic. You're the only man who can.
Hey, Mitch, you got to keep coming back, all right? Thanks for coming on as a surprise guest. It made our night, seriously. Now, guess what? Mitch goes, but Michael Bryson.
Hey, boom. Yay. All right.
Last train to Clarksville.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
You ever hear of the song, Michael?
Yes, matter of fact, that's actually, yes, I have. Yes, I do. Yes, I did. Actually, the flip side song called "Take a Giant Step." You know, first single, and you know the initial copies actually didn't have the black background that the later copies had. All they had was like the outline of the C of the torch, and the no writing whatsoever on the label. So those initial copies. Then of course RC got busy and started pulling all the copies back and redoing them as properly. So.
Yeah.
This just doesn't seem to be my day. That's the song we're doing now.
Okay.
Not a bad song. I liked it on the TV show. It's catchy, moves along. It's a good song. What do you think, Michael?
This is another piece of evidence that shows how the Monkees are trying to sound like the Beatles, because this sounds a whole lot like I'm blanking out. What's the name of the song?
This just doesn't seem to be my day.
No, it sounds like the Beatles song.
I've just seen a face.
I've just seen a face. Thank you. I'm just blanking out. I'm thinking it and I couldn't think of the name. It does sound like that same sort of feel to it. And I think they were sort of trying to capture that sound. So because of that, it's not one of my favorite songs. It just reminds me too much of another song. But it's not a bad song. It's certainly, look, any band at the time would have loved to have an album this good. You know, this is unusual to have an album without a whole bunch of filler on it. And so even if it's considered a filler, it's a very good filler.
Fantastic. Let's keep it moving. What do you think of that song, Charles?
A great Boyce and Hart composition. Very weird King Tut intro, you know, which just so doesn't make sense. Why is it in there? But yet it works. It works, and then it's thrown in again. And that I used to love performing the song with Monkey Mania because it has that. Also, it's another callback song. You know, you know it. I don't know.
At the end, yeah.
And I love callback stuff, but. It's a great Davy vocal. You know, you don't say that a lot. You always say great Mickey vocal, Nesbitt, because they are, you know, they're great vocalists. Davy was too, and this is a great Davy vocal.
Right, Charlie, we're going to keep it going this way now because we moved around. This just doesn't seem to be my day.
Yeah, it had the weird intro, and then it had the like Baroque-esque middle part that we started the show with. Excellently performed by my friend Charles here. Another wonderful tune. What can you say? It's good song. I don't have much to add.
It's an ode to depression. I'll give it that. And this one has a cello, and I actually really like it. And I don't mind that. Sounds like I've just seen a face because I like that song too. Anyway, go on.
Fantastic. Fred, what about you?
I think it's a fun song. It's filler. But it's fun filler. Davy's great. I love the little weird bits in it. Like I said, it does remind me of a George Harrison Beatles song, the way the weird music is. But it's good. And the little video they put together in the Royal Flush episode with Mickey being chased by the baddie is fun to watch. And that song was originally in the background. It was later changed during the summer reruns. But it's a nice little song. It's a nice little pop song. It's a good album track.
What do you think of This Just Doesn't Seem to Be My Day?
Well, as Fred said, was in the episode of Royal Flush, it actually had an elongated middle that many people may or may not know that didn't have on the single on the LP track. And of course, the backing band with that was the Cantor Prophets, led by Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart. So, which is a pretty good crack band, a pretty good crack kind of good band. But you know, I don't think they hit on all four cylinders sometimes, and this one actually they did. So it actually was timed like a Russian kind of kind of like a Russian kind of march, you know, and kind of like because it's even boost step on it's kind of like that.
Okay, that's great. Now let's move on to the one hit wonder song, the great one, Let's Dance On. We know that's Charles Rosenay's favourite party song. It's going at his house 24 hours a day. I know it is. We love the guy. For me, it's a winner. It's the only song that's got no bass. Right.
So as a bass player, I dance more. That's
Michael.
one thing that bugs the hell out of me when I listen to it. There's no bass on it because I'm a bass player, I feel that way. It's a very, very simple song. It's the kind of song I wrote when I was 15 years old. There's not much to it. The chords are very predictable. The lyrics are very predictable. And I wasn't really thrilled with it. However, when I saw Mickey perform it live with a good band, I went, this is a great song. So, the performance makes a lot of difference. You can take a song that's kind of cliche and predictable, but if the performance is great, you go, this is a great song. The performance lacks on this album, if you ask me, and that's why I don't like it as much as I should.
Charles, take it away. Your favorite song.
Well, it's not my favorite song, but it's my favorite song we performed as Monkey Mania, because I would do the where ha ha ha, and the crowd would do ha ha ha, hey 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 hey, and the crowd, and I would sometimes, Fred, I don't know if you remember, I'd go on for 10 minutes. The band would be looking, when is he going to frickin' end the song? And the way to know when I was going to end, I would go a little bit me, a little bit you, and then go back, let's dance on. So I had fun with that song. It's a fun song. And even if I DJ'd an oldies show and no one knew the song, I'd mix it with La Bamba or something because it's very derivative of those other songs. Again, it's a great Davey vocal, and it's fun, and I love the song.
Great. Charlie.
So Let's Dance. February 1966, the Rascals had a hit with Good Lovin'. If you listen to this song back to back with Good Lovin', this song is Good Lovin'. Everything about the production of this song, minus the bass, because there is a credited bass on it, but there was no bass on the recording that I can tell. But everything about this song, down to every stop, every guitar fill section, the keyboard solo, the stop after the keyboard solo, the background vocals, everything about this song is a copy of Good Lovin'. With that being said, I love this song, and I've always wanted to do it live. Yeah. So, Charles, if we ever get a chance to meet, let's do this song.
We'll do it live.
I'll play bass.
Mark Arnold. Arnold, we've got to keep the show going, or we'll be here all night.
In the book here, I say that it's the weakest song in the album and stuff like that. Well, it's this version of it, because I listened to Andrew Sandoval's Come to the Sunshine podcast, and he played Let's Dance On by the Hondells. That was a kicking ass song. So it's how you do it. So I bet Charles Rosenay's version's better than the Monkees version. So here we go.
No,
that's all I have to say. So it's risen in rank for me.
I agree.
I love the song. It's a great rocker, almost like a Chuck Berry type rocker. I love the call and response in it. Mickey's a fantastic voice, and I love when Mickey has performed it live. I think he did it on the Monkees 2016 tour, and he's done it solo, and it's just a fun song. I think when he started doing it live, he had the expression in his face, why haven't I done this song live before? Because it's such a fun song. It's like up there with No Time. It's that type of a cool Chuck Berry type rocker. So and it's great to hear a really good rocker on this album. I mean, all the songs rock. This is one that gets you up on your feet and dancing and all that. And I think it works great live. It's a great live song.
Fantastic. Now, Michael Boyce, come in now on that song.
Yes. That there's actually another version of that. Actually, on the original version of the film, there was actually Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart singing it, and Mickey's voice actually subbed into the original backing track. That's how they got the vocal and on the track, and it sounds almost the same, but Tommy's voice is actually better because he puts a little oomph into it. Unlike Mickey's, who's like a little way back, which is like in comparison, they're very, very unusual. And of course, the track in the stereo version actually lasts about like 10 seconds longer than the mod version. So
Fantastic.
the
Now,
mod
just
and
want
stereo
to say,
version is different in terms of version.
thanks, Mike. Now,
Yeah.
next song, I'll Be
It's-
True. I'll be honest with you. To me, it's the dud song of the album. That one and like more of the Monkees, The Day We Fall in Love. Two songs that put me to sleep. So I'll just give that one a miss. What do you think, Michael?
This is a remake of an old Hollies song, you know, and that's kind of interesting that they did that when they had other songs of their own originals to do. But I guess they wanted another slower Davy song. Yeah, this one puts me to sleep too. It's not my favorite. The Hollies version is better if you listen to it. There's some more energy to it, you know, and I like the Hollies version better.
Charles, does this one put you to sleep?
I think it's a Jerry Goffin composition, if I'm not mistaken. So we can't discard it altogether because he gets, you know, ultimate credit in my brain. You know what? This song is dated. I'll tell you why. If you put that song out with Pat Boone or Frankie Avalon singing it, it fits. It fits.
Oh, got rid of Pat Boone.
It's like a 50s song, you know, and it trudges along. It's fine on the album because it maybe needed another ballad, but it's clearly not on par with the rest of the songs.
Thank you. That backs up what I said. Charlie.
Here's where I'm going to depart from you guys a little bit. I really love the background harmonies on this song.
The harmonies are great.
Yeah, if you listen to the background harmonies, it really,
especially at the end.
If you feel like Davy's vocal is like one of those, you know, kind of throwaway pop things, the background vocals for this song just saved the song for me, and I enjoy listening to it all the time. It's almost, there's parts of it with the backgrounds that sound very Beach Boys-esque to me. So I really enjoy the tune. There you go.
Okay, guess what? Before you say that, just read that comment out for us, Charlie.
I've always said that it was just like Good Lovin'. I've never heard anyone say that. It is. You listen to that song in Good Lovin', and it's a direct, but it makes sense. 1966 February, that was Good Lovin' was a hit, and they went into the studio in July to record this album. There's no doubt that it was a gigantic influence on it. But I love the guitar on Let's Dance On, and the fact that there's no bass, I really dig it.
All right, let's go to Mark now. On that song, as we said, I'll Be True.
No, nothing new, nothing else to really add except, yeah, they're trying to promote Davy as a balladeer, and maybe they thought the Holly song worked for that without writing another song. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Fred.
Yeah, me. I like the song. It's definitely filler, but as Charlie said, the harmonies are really nice on that song. It's almost like probably Beach Boys, Bealish type harmonies, and that's good. It's, you know, it's a fine album track, and it's actually a good vocal. It's a good vocal by Davy, but like you said, the harmonies help save the song.
Fair enough. What do you think, Michael Boyce?
Well, later on, when Linda heard it, she goes, "Oh, that's the Hollies," and Davy says, "Really? You know, I didn't know." See, and it was actually called at the time called "Yes, I Will." But there's actually a kind of a pre-recording dialogue that had the lead singer, which is Dr. Graham Nash, argue with Alan Clark about where to sit. Yeah, it's actually only on the 30th anniversary version that you hear that. And Yes, I Will almost turned into No, I Won't. You know, that's the actual dialogue here on the 30th anniversary.
Well said, Michael. Well said. We've got to keep
harmony.
moving along now. Sweet Young Thing, Mike Nesmith. To me, it's a winner. Love the sounds. What do you think, Michael?
This is the one that he co-wrote with Carole King and Goffin, and it's a well-written song, and it just shows how important it is to understand music, because it's almost all in one note for a lot, not one note, but one chord for a lot of it, but the notes go up and down and make it exciting. It's very well written. I like it better than Papa Jean's Blues, but just a little bit better because I like both of them a lot.
I hear it as like a precursor to Circle Sky. It's a great Nez vocal. Again, I skipped it in the day. I would go right by it and you know, revisiting now, of course, it's a great song, and just amazes me. I think did Carole King and Goffin write that, and then he added to it? How did that? Does anyone know the history? Because that's the only credited song to the three of them, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I read an interview with Men's Nezris one time that he said he learned a lot with working with them, but that's about the extent of what he said.
I read that, and I also read that was sort of a template for You Just Might Be the One.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Dolly?
I believe it.
I would say that this song, if kicks A double S, I think everything about the production of this song, everything about the fiddle on the song, I think, yeah, Thinga at the end. I think everything about this song just is top notch for this album. Again, one of my favorites on the album.
Thinga.
Thinga.
Right, read that out, Charlie, for us.
Amazing song. He has so much fun with it. Thinga. Yeah, I think this is. I think it's a powerful tune. I would use the word powerful when I hear this song.
Fantastic. You've done your homework tonight. Now, Mark.
I like it. What I also like is that little echo stop right before the chorus too. I think that's really good. And yeah, I like the sweet young thing.
All right, Fred.
It's an amazing song. It's like this is where you really hear the genius of Michael Nesmith. It's a fantastic vocal. I love the backing vocals by, I think you hear Davey, definitely, I think Peter. And there, the instrumentation is incredible. The guitar solo is amazing. And if I can plug myself a little bit, when I did my Little Bit Christmas CD a couple of years ago, it's Christmas songs done the style of the Monkey Tunes. We did God Rest You Merry Gentlemen in the style of Sweet Thing. And my producer, John Rodzinski, and Blue Meanies, he actually created in the studio the guitar solo. And I thought, oh my gosh, he actually did that. I was like watching him, and he said,
"The next song
it was almost note for note." So,
Charlie, can you read that? Charlie D, you are my hero by Charles Rosenay.
My hero.
You know what I like the fact that he's on the show. He's texting into the show. I reckon that's really great.
But anyway, the song is great. And again, this showcases the genius, genius of Michael Nesmith.
Fantastic. Michael Boyce, coming from where you are.
Well, you know, there's actually an instrumental version of that, which features Doug Dillard, the banjoist for that used to be on Andy Griffith's show. He played banjo on that, and it was a different version, and it ended like a psychedelic kind of version, a psychedelic kind of ending with Doug Dillard playing the banjo on that. It's on the Wichita Train Whistle Sings album.
Right, Wichita Train Whistle.
As you know, and yeah, and the more the people got drunk, the more the guys got drunk, the more weird they played. And this was the weirdest that they actually had been at the end. So that one plus you told me that it was just a mess, but it was a good mess.
Okay, great.
Hey,
fantastic. Read that out, Chuck. Read that out.
Yeah, he does a great job.
Accenting words like that, so original, I think. Hey guys, didn't Glenn Campbell play on that too?
I think Mary.
I think so.
I think
yes, he did.
A lot of the Wrecking Crew guys played on this stuff, and even more so on the next album. Hal Blaine played on some of the tracks, and yeah.
You know, I'm amazed with all the comments we get. That's what happens when you're running a show that goes 1 hour, 20 minutes. People have got time to text in. You know what? I should keep buzzing and see who falls asleep first.
I give you the liner notes right now. Nez, Mickey, Peter Tork on backing vocals. We got James Burton, Glenn Campbell, Al Casey, Mike Easy, Jimmy Bryant, Larry Ketchnell, Bob Weiss, Hal Blaine.
Hal Blaine.
Blaine.
Fred, while you're there, so I'm gonna take issue with something you guys brought up before.
Yes.
And that is I think Papa Gene's blues solo, where you guys said he says Pickett Luther. I think what he actually says now, unless you guys have something that I don't, I always thought what he said was Pickett Wilson, and he was playing off of Wilson Pickett. Wait. Who's Luther?
Luther's the guy that plays on the. It was a nickname. I think one of the players.
Wait, stop. Fred, look at the liner notes and tell me who Luther is playing guitar on that.
Look, I'm reading it right now. On guitars, I'm reading James Burton, Glenn Campbell, Al Casey, Jim Helms, and Peter Tork on guitar.
There's no Luther.
No Luther, but I don't know.
I read about it. He might have just pulled a name out as a nickname.
I would go back and listen again. That's right. Go back and listen with some headphones.
It's actually on the track, so they turned it down. And then you hear the other track that they released when it turned up.
I bow to your knowledge, but I'm going to definitely go back and listen again, because when I saw the notes, there was no Luther guitar player on it. So I don't know where that would come from.
I can only guess. I just reckon he just came up with that name Luther. Look it up in the net and see what you can find.
Maybe he said Lucifer, and they had sold their soul to the devil to be on the show.
No, he said Luther. Okay, now listen.
Could that be Tommy Tedesco?
Tommy didn't play on any of the
Tommy
stuff.
Tedesco?
No, I don't see his name.
I mean, he did play on the what's the thing?
All right, Mitch said it's
later.
No, I don't see Tommy Tedesco on
Yes, Mitch, I agree with you. I always thought it was Wilson as well.
I used to think that too.
Exactly. So.
It's on the alternate mix. It's not on the regular mix. So anyway, yeah.
Now listen, last track of the album is going to be here all night. He's going to buy me a dog. That's when they got him in the studio, and they're all over the floor and whatever they did. Then they started mucking around, Mickey and Davey. They left the recorder on. They liked what they heard. It was different.
Around.
It sounded different. I like it. What do you think, Michael?
Well, we have to put it into consideration of the time. They were recording songs for a comedy TV show. I don't think anyone ever thought it was going to turn into a real rock band. Also, we have to keep in mind that rock and roll was only less than 10 years old at the time, or just a little over 10 years old at the time. Nobody thought they'd be listening to the Monkees 50 years later. Given all that, it's a comedy song for a comedy TV show. It doesn't belong on a rock and roll album. There's not much to the song. The humor is there. I like the humor, but it's not like Frank Zappa humor where I can listen to the humor, laugh, and then hear the song 10 years later and still like it because of the music. The problem is once I've heard all the joke, I don't want to hear it again and again and again. It's not as funny the second, third, fourth, and fifth time, and the music isn't good enough to cover the fact that the humor's not that good. So I'm kind of disappointed. This is my least favorite track on the album, I think.
That's all right. What do you think, Charles? You're into comedy. That's a great song.
Yeah, I'm not a good sense of comedy, but I want to say that it does belong on the album because we were 5 and 6 and 12 years old, and it was perfect. We wanted the album to end with their personality and with their comedy. And it is a perfect example of their personality and comedy. What's wrong with you, Michael?
Well, when I was a kid, I liked it. That's the point.
Yeah, but I like
when they were
except I kept saying, where's Peter and Mike? Why aren't they talking too?
When they were recording it then, they weren't thinking that the brain trust behind your book was going to sit here and analyze a pop album by a teen group made for 12-year-old girls. It's a great song on the album. It belongs there. It gives Peter a chance to have fun. The other guys have fun. Davey, if you listen to the runoff at the end, goes, "They're coming to take me away," which is a great, I mean, that little bit, listen, that's, you get that's on there. All right, the song sucks, I admit it, but it belongs to the album for the time.
That was my point. At the time, it did.
Boys at Heart ever wrote.
In retrospect, it doesn't. At the time, it made sense. Yes.
Yeah. All right, I also got to say something. As far as I know, on that recording, and correct me if I'm right or not, but there's only Mickey and Davey on that recording. There's no other Monkees. They're the only two voices.
Not Peter.
Yeah.
What you came up with Peter, Charles?
I thought-
Peter's not on the recording.
Oh, I really thought that he was on that. My mistake.
No, that's right. I don't blame you. You can think the four of them are on there, but they're not. There's only two. But let me tell you, where do you hear a song where they go, "Oh, you've been playing cards with the Zulus"? Yeah, you Zoos, you lose, right? They're cracking jokes left, right, and center, and then he cracks the one about the monkey, whatever it is. You bought yourself a raccoon.
Water comes out of the neck.
Right.
You bought yourself a raccoon, didn't you? I can buy one for something, right? These jokes, they were in the studio mucking around. They didn't know that was going to be the final take. And when they heard it, they go, "This is great. We'll use it." That's what happened. But I like the way you're hearing voices and you thought it was Peter.
I really always thought it was the three of them, and I never researched the song because it wasn't worth researching. But let's, Charlie, move on to you.
This it's funny. This one actually has special meaning to me because as a young guitar player playing with my brother, this was one of the songs that we used to play. One of the first songs that I learned how to play on guitar was "I'm Gonna Buy Me a Dog," and I tend to gravitate towards tracks that aren't beautiful and polished. And this certainly wasn't beautiful and polished. Now, I've always kind of wondered if it was intentionally not, like the Beach Boys album where they're supposed to be sitting around having fun singing. But it was all pre-planned by Brian Wilson. If it is spontaneous, it very much reminds me of the instrumental at the beginning of one of the Monkees albums, or one of the songs where they're doing the slide guitar and they're trying to play the intro to Looney Tunes, and it sounds nothing like that. And we'll get to that at a later album. But for me, this track is gold. I love it. The jokes are what the jokes are. I mean, I'll still listen to a Smothers Brothers album over and over, and it's the same jokes. They don't change the jokes from listening one time or another. But I love this track.
Charlie, can I say, when you put a joke on a record and you play it again, it's the same joke.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. You know, the songs don't change lyrics when you play them one time or another either.
I know, but can I ask you a question because I love you? If you play this song, right, you're cracking me up now. I'm going to buy me a dog, and you play it 5 times. Can you tell me, do the jokes change?
No, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't change. But that was in response to what Michael was saying before, where after he hears the jokes, he doesn't have to hear them again. He gets the jokes. For me, the liveliness of the track, the jokes and what they're saying becomes like lyrics in the song. And I look forward.
What it was, yeah. It was spontaneous, let me tell you. But let me explain to you, you're doing a fantastic job on this show, and I take my hat off to you because you do research. Some of the things you say are just fantastic.
Take this hair off.
But some of them are just way out.
What I say?
Totally off the wall. Off the deep end.
Mark, let's keep it going. It's going to be all night.
Right in the deep end.
Yeah.
For me, the jokes change every time. Anyway.
Yeah.
I would say
on the Mad Records.
In defense,
all right, let Mark.
Come on, you know, it's pretty there.
In defense of Charlie, okay. I cannot like a musical group until I find out that they have a sense of humor. I mean, one of the earliest tracks that got me to become a Beatles fan was "You Know My Name, Look Up the Number." Now, a lot of people hate that song. That's just them goofing around and everything. But it made them real. It made them like human or something, you know? So that's why. I used to hear it. There's this old radio show called Dr. Demento. Actually, he's still doing podcasts now. He used to play that in the early 70s. I loved Going to Buy Me a Dog. Yeah, it's corny and stuff like that. And then I'll say one last thing, and then we can go on to Fred. So again, I've been listening to Andrew Sandoval's Come to the Sunshine podcast. He played a version by Gamaguchi and by Fingers Lee, which are both on YouTube if you want to listen to them. Totally straight versions of them, no jokes. They're actually not bad. So take a chance. Anyway.
Just imagine if they write this song and they call it "I'm going to buy myself a cat." I'm going to get myself a canary. Just imagine where you can.
No. We'll work.
Scoob.
My
Fred,
turn.
you're on.
it's a fun track. It's a fun closer to the album. Mickey and Davey are obviously having a lot of fun with it. I think Don Kirshner was the one that said, "There's a funny song. Do what you want." And I think it was maybe at the end of the session, and they just went to town and just did whatever the hell they wanted. They thought it was a dumb song too, so they didn't take it seriously. And I guess you know that Davey actually performed the song a year prior in his appearance on The Farmer's Daughter.
Yep.
So, and they did it a straight version at the time.
I saw that one, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Peter didn't do it?
No, Peter's not on it. I just looked at the credits, Charles, liner notes. No, Peter's not on it. But and the thing is, I think they liked the joke the first time. It says, let's try it again, see if we can come up with some more stuff. Nothing. They tried recording it again. It didn't come out as good the second time. Said, okay, the first take is the keepers. That's what you get. And like I said, I think it's a fun closer to the album.
Fantastic, Fred. Now, come in, Michael Boyce, from where you are, and tell us about I'm going to buy me a dog.
Well, there was actually a Nesmith version that never got released, that they had the backing track. And that back track sounds more like Church Douglas Quintet's She's About a Mover, the kind of the backing track of that. But Boyce and I has said they want to be serious, and the boys want serious, so they goofed around. And Boyce and I were like, oh my God, what the hell are we going to release it as? So finally I said, okay, we'll release it, but release it as is. And that's how it happened. Same thing with Randy Guzella in the second one.
And it was spontaneous. Let me tell you now, we're in the home stretch now. Show's nearly over. We do our wrap of the whole album because otherwise Charlie will get upset, right? So as far as I'm concerned, first album of the Monkees, self-titled The Monkees. To me, it's their greatest album. It's their first album. The variety of songs, the TV show coming out at the same time. It had power, had the machine behind it, had the music behind it from the get-go. And to me, it's my favorite album. That's me. You, Michael?
It's not my favorite Monkee album, but it's a very good Monkees album. And at the time, any band, like I said, would love to have had an album like this. You know, the fillers are not bad filler. There's a couple songs I would have replaced with other versions that they had already recorded, but overall, it's a good album.
Right. Charles Rosenay.
I want to say that this was very special because in 1987, we did the National Monkees Convention in Teaneck, New Jersey with Davey, Mickey, Peter, Boyce, and Hart. It was majorly produced by Michael Boyce. Fred was there. I was there. I hosted with Fred. This was a reunion for the three of us, our first time together since 1987. Right, Mike?
I was there. Nobody knew who I was.
Who, me?
I was there in spirit.
I was there in spirit and body.
Right.
Charlie, what do you think of the album?
Go back into hibernation, Michael.
This album came out 10 years before I was born, and if I could have bought it then, I would have.
That makes sense now.
So I think any band would love to have this as their first album. I think it's one of those rare albums for me where I listen from cover to cover and I like every song on the album. And some of my favorite bands, I can't even say that about. So to me, I think it's just almost perfection.
Fantastic. Now, Mark, what do you think of the album? Wrap it up.
It's really good, and I think it was good that they did it as like a pop album, because they could have done it just as a TV soundtrack and just had a lot of sound bites from the show and just a lot of general goofiness and no real complete songs or anything, and just it would have been a one-off soundtrack. So kudos to them to make a real pop album.
Fantastic. Well done. Fred, what do you think of the first album?
The first album is great. It's a great debut album. I think it's called The Monkees, but in the back it says Meet the Monkees, named after another group that we know. But it's a great debut album. There's fantastic songs on it. Great production. The guys do a wonderful job on it. Nesmith definitely shines on this album. With 2 songs, he was definitely the standout. But all the songs are really good. There are a couple of fillers, but overall, a very good first album.
Fantastic. Come in, Michael Boyce. Come in. Tell us what you think of the album.
Well, later editions of that album had the back cover as listed as being the beach house where the Monkees actually lived with the Panther Club. When the original ones had the Street Gems company on back. If you notice that was actually a big change, but actually it was like put on as a kind of like a sarcastic remark. So also, it's also a very good album. But Kirshner and Nesmith actually locked horns right away. That Nesmith actually gave Nesmith a break in those songs. They said I might as well give him a break, so he gave him 2 songs, and that was it. But he gave him quite a hassle with that one.
Fantastic. Now, guys, I want to thank you for being on the first album, The Monkees. We'll resume again with more of The Monkees next time. Thanks for joining us today. Say goodbye to everyone out there because they'll love us.
Great
See
job.
ya.
Thank you, Plastic.
Have a pleasant Valley Sunday, everybody.